Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. And this morning, I will be discussing the Region 7, the Central Visayas. And our objectives are describe the Region 7, Central Visayas, and the second one is identify the types of literary works of Central Visayas. Region 7, a region of the Philippines located in the central part of the Visayas Island group. It consists of four provinces: Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental, and Siquijor, and the highly urbanized cities of Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu City, and Mandawi City. The region is dominated by the native speakers of Cebuano. Cebu City is its regional center. Ang kini ang Region 7 or the Central Visayas, na dyan siya tunga-tunga sa Visayas. The total area of Central Visayas are 15,875 kilometers squared. And the total population of Central Visayas are 6,398,628. And Central Visayas or the Region 7, making it the fifth most populous of the country's 17 regions. This is the map of Central Visayas or the Region 7. The province of Central Visayas are Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental, and Siquijor. And the capital of Bohol is Tagbilaran City. The capital of Cebu is Cebu City. The capital of Negros Oriental is Dumaguete. The capital of Siquijor is Siquijor. Bohol Province, the island province of Bohol, has a population of 1,102,000 and 48 towns and 1 city. Tagbilaran, which is the provincial capital, the island seems to have even more history than usual of long and bitter fighting against foreign invaders, Spanish, American, and Japanese. This represents the concept of blood brotherhood between Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and Sikatuna. Boholano is a dialect of Cebu that is spoken on the island of Bohol in the Philippines, which is a Visayan speech variety, although it is sometimes described as a separate language. Boholano, especially the dialect used in Central Bohol, can be distinguished from other Cebuano dialects by a few phonetic changes. Ang kiniti siyang Boholano, mo na siya ang usa ni siya sa dialect sa Cebu, pero spoken ni siya sa island of Bohol, Philippines. Next is Bohol tourist attractions. First, Hinagdanan Cave. Second, Bilar Man-Made Forest. Third, Philippine Tarsier Sanctuary. And Baclayon Church, Chocolate Hills, and the Blood Compact Shrine. And the delicacies of Bohol are calamay, takla, ubi, kinampay. And the next one is the Cebu Province. The Cebu Province, the Philippines province of Cebu, includes the island of Cebu and a number of smaller islands nearby. The area of province is 5,088 square kilometer. The population is 2,179,000 and 47 towns and 5 cities, of which Cebu City is the capital. The province has rich in mineral resources, with copper and cement the leading products, and also produces large amount of coconut oil, rice, and corn. Ang Cebu City di ay mo ni siya ang kaning usa sa pinakadako nga tig-produce og coconut oil and rice and corn sa ato ang market. Cebuano is the lingua franca of Central Visayas, the western parts of Eastern Visayas, some western parts of Palawan, and most parts of Mindanao. The name Cebuano is derived from the island of Cebu, which is the source of standard Cebuano. Ang kaning Cebuano mo ni siya ang gigamit sa mga taga Palawan, most parts of Mindanao, kasagaran na mga kaning tao sa mga sa taga Mindanao. Kani siya ay gikan jud siya sa kaning Cebu Island. Mo ni siya ang ganing ginagamit na mga na lingua franca sa mga taga Cebu. Next slides is the Cebu staple delicacies. First, lechon or the Cebu lechon. Next, chicharon. Kani siyang chicharon mo na siya ang best ni siya sa karkar. Then, chorizo de Cebu. Best po ni siya sa mo na siya ang ganing pod sa mga taga Cebu ning chorizo. Next, utap. Paboritong pasalubong ng mga pumupunta sa Cebu, utap. Next, the landmarks of Cebu. First, Basilica Menor del Santo Niño de Cebu. Second, Fort San Pedro. Third, Magellan's Cross. And the fourth one is Cebu Taoist Temple. Fifth, Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral. And Heritage of Cebu Monument. And the Sirao Pictorial Garden and Camping Site. Those are the landmarks of Cebu City. And the next province is the Negros Oriental. It occupies the eastern part of island of Negros. The province has a population of 1,124,000 by the 2000 census on 5,402 square kilometer in 22 towns and 3 cities. Dumaguete is the capital of Negros Oriental and Canlaon and Bais. The population has long been a mix of Negritos, Malays, and Chinese. Negros Oriental used Cebuano is the main language of province, spoken by 95% of the population. Hiligaynon is spoken by the remaining 5% and is common in areas close to the border with Negros Occidental. These are the delicacies of Negros Oriental. First, Sans Rival, Silvana, Budbud Kabug, and Inato Pichu or Pichu ng Manok. And the last but not the least, Barkiron. And this are the best tourist spot of Negros Oriental. Apo Island and Balinsasayaw and more. The next province is the Siquijor. The island of Siquijor is the smallest at 343.5 square kilometer. Last populous at 82,000 most recent census, and the newest province in the region. It comprises 6 towns, the municipality of Siquijor serving as the capital. Ang kanisiyang Siquijor, mo ni siya ang pinakagamay nga island nga nasakop sa Region 7. Kay kung siya, ang iyahang kadakon lang ani is 343.5 square kilometer. Gamay ra gyud. Kaganing uma. Pero nag-consist siya og 82,000 nga mga tawo nga nagpuyo dito. Maupod siya ang pinakagamay og Sinsos or mga tao nga nagapuyo dito sa Siquijor. The main language spoken in Siquijor is Cebuano. English as well as Tagalog is also spoken by most of the residents. Ang kasagaran yun nga gipang gipang istorya sa mga taga Siquijor kay Cebuano. Pero nasa sila dito ay mga kaning dialect or language na gigamit sa mga ubang tao nga nagpuyo dito, mo na siya ang English o ang Tagalog. This is the best delicacies in Siquijor. First, torta, peanut brittle, pan Bisaya, and sutukil or sugba tula kinilaw, and peanut balls. And this is the best tourist spots in Siquijor. Now, let's proceed to the notable writers in Region 7. First is Marcelino Navarra. 1914 siya gianak, namatay po siya 1984. Known as the father of modern Cebuano literature. He was born in Tuyum, Karkar. Dito kuno siya na ganing gipanganak sa Tuyum, Karkar. Muna siya ang Karkar, muna siya na dito daghan ang mga paboritong pasalubong sa mga tao nga mo ngadto sa Cebu. He spent most of his life writing almost 80 short stories, which were published in Cebu magazines, namely Bisaya, Alimyon, and Bulak. Kani si Marcelino Navarra, iyaha dyan nang gispend iyahang kinabuhi sa pagsulat or pagsuwat og mga short stories. Nakahimo ni siya og short stories, 80 short stories. Unya, iyahan ni siyang gipapublish sa Cebu magazines, namely Bisaya, Alimyon, and Bulak. His first story, Tungod sa Kayagang, was published in Nasud in 1931. His best-known story is Og Gianod Ako, a Bisaya Prize winner. Ang iyahang himo nga short story nga ang title Og Gianod Ako, mo ni ang naghatag og sa iyaha og award or premium nga nakadaog siya. The next notable writer is Oldareco A. Alviola. 1883 siya gianak, namatay pud siya 1866. Oldareco Aguilar Alviola Sr., born July 4, 1883 and died April 29, 1966, was a Filipino-Visayan civil servant, novelist, and editor from Cebu, Philippines. While he wrote in English and Spanish, his published works in the Cebuano language earned him the title of Dean of Cebuano Writers. The next notable writer is Natalio Bacalso. He was a Filipino writer, newspaperman, radio broadcaster, filmmaker, Constitutional Convention delegate in 1971, representing Cebu 2nd District, and opposition assemblyman to the interim Batasang Pambansa in 1978. The Natalio Bacalso Avenue is named after him.
Now let's move forward for the first literary works of Region 7, which is the myth, Sikalak and Sikavay. Sikalak and Sikavay explains the region of the island Cebu and Samar. The people in this myth is called Higalaynon, who believed that heaven and earth had no beginning. So once there were two gods, Kaptan and Maguyawan. One day, Kaptan planted a bamboo in a garden. It grew and split into two sections, and stepped out a man who was named Sikalak and a woman named Sikavai. Sikalak asked Sikavai's hand for marriage because there were no other people on earth. She refused because they were brother and sisters, having been conceived out of the same red. So, one day, Captain planted a bamboo in a garden, and then, when the rib grew, napikas ang bamboo into two sections, which became a man and a woman. So, to the man they gave the name of Sikalak, and that is the reason why man at that time have been called lalak or lalaki, while the woman have been called Sikavay or babay. So, one day, Sikalak asked Sikavay to marry him, for there is no other people in the world, but wala ni sugot si Sikavay, kay they were brothers and sisters. So Sikalak persistently pleaded with her, and finally they decided to consult the tunas of the sea, the doves of the air, and the earthquake, who agreed that they should marry so that the world will be populated. Finally, they decided to go ahead and get married, and had a son named Sibu. Then they had a daughter named Samar. Sibu and Samar had a daughter named Luplupan, who grew up and married Pandaguan, who was also a son of Sikalak and Sikavay. Lupluban and Pandaguan had a son named Anoranor. Pandaguan invented a fishing net, and he caught a shark when he used it, but the shark did not survive for long out of the water. He cried loudly to the gods. The god captain sent the flies to find out why Pandaguan was making such a loud lamentation, but the flies refused to obey, so they were condemned to scavenge among filthy and rotten things from then. So, since nag-ask siya og advice sa tuna fish in the sea, dove from the air, and the earthquake, so ana ang earthquake nga, it is necessary for them to marry para ang world is na ay mga tao. So, since nag-agree ang tulo, they got married and had a son named Sibo and a daughter named Samar. So, then si Sibo and Samar nagkaanak which named Luplupan. Then si Luplupan naminyo kang Pandaguan, anak nilang si Kalak and si Kavay. So, they had a son named Anoranor. So, Pandaguan was the first to invent a net for fishing, and the first nga ang iyang gigamit is nakakuha siya og shark, thinking nga dili siya mamatay, pero namatay ang shark pag-abot sa shore. Nya pagkakita ni Pandaguan nga patay na ang shark, he began to mourn and weep over it, complaining against the gods for having allowed for shark to die, kay wala pay bisan usa nga namatay that time. So pagkabati ni God Captain sa Kampandaguan, he sent flies para kitaon kung kinsa ug unsa ang namatay, but the flies did not tell to go. Then the god sent the weevils, and he discovered about Pandaguan's grief, and he struck him dead by a thunderbolt. Pandaguan stayed in the infernal regions, but the god took pity on him and brought him back to the world. Pandaguan discovered that his wife Luplupan became the concubine of Maracoyron. Pandaguan got angry and went back to infernal regions, vowing never to return to the world. So, since Captain sent the weevils, which is mao'y nagsumbong kang Captain sa pagkamatay sa shark, then Captain and Maguyawan made a thunderbolt that kills Pandaguan. So he remains for 30 days in the infernal region. And the time came na luoy ang God sa kang Pandaguan, then gitagaan siya another life. So sa katong pagkamatay ni Pandaguan, ang iyang wife na si Luplupan have other man named Maracoyron. At that time, concubinage or kabit-kabit, ang kabit-kabit is nagsugod na sa kalibutan tungod nila. So, when Pandaguan returned, wala niya nakita niyang wife sa ilang balay because she was invited by her friends to feast. At that time, ipaadto ni Pandaguan ang iyahang son sa kay Luplupan para ibalita ang pagbalik sa iyang father, but si Luplupan refused it kay wala daw kuno patay nga mobalik og kabuhi. So tungod ato, Nasuko si Pandaguan and ning balik siya sa infernal region and promised to not to return in the world again. Next was the legend of Region 7, which is the Catalina in Dumaguete by John Maurice Miller. Many years ago there lived in Dumaguete a poor tobaciller named Banog, who made his daily rounds to the houses just as the milkman does in far-off America. The bad custom of mixing tungod, a kind of red bark, with the sap and thus making of it a strong liquor, had not been known. So Banog, though poor, is respected by the people, and the people tried in every way to help him and his daughter Catalina. Catalina was a beautiful girl of 16 and a very good and industrious, but many strange ways. She scarcely ever spoke a word and spent most of her time looking out over the sea. Sometimes she would suddenly stand erect and clasping her hands would remain for a long time looking at the sky as if she saw something that no one else can see. On account of this strange manner, the people thought her a wonderful girl and she was supposed to have mysterious power. They were told that many years ago there was an old man named Banog who made his living sa pagpamaligya og tuba. So although Banog was a poor, he is very respectful and considered a good man. So naa siya'y anak nga si Catalina. At the age of 16, Catalina were very pretty, a hardworking girl, and permi magsulot og ulong white dress. So dili siya hilig makighalubilo sa ubang tao, tagsara siya mosulti, and gusto ra niya magsigi og tan-aw sa dagat og magsigig hangad sa sky nga murag naa siya makita nga siya ray makakita. So because of these strange characteristics, the people believed nga naa siya mysterious power of sight. One day, many ships came from the island of Mindanao and hundreds of Moros landed, shooting and waving their terrible knives. They fell upon the peaceful people and killed many among them, poor Banog. Then they robbed and burned houses and sizzling all the women they could find the sail for the great southern island. Among the prisoners was Catalina. With her eyes fixed on the sky, she sat very quiet and still in bow of one of boats, and though her companions spoke often to her, she made no reply. Many people who had hidden in their forest ran out to meet her, but she spoke to no one with her eyes still fixed above. She walked through the burning town along the road to Dalugdog, the Thunder Mountain that lies behind Dumaguete. So usa ka adlaw ana na ay mga ships nga niabot sa island sa Moro. Ang sulod kay ang mga Moros. So gipamatay ang mga islanders nga lalaki and gibilin ang mga babay. So gipangsunog ang mga balay ug ang mga babay gidala nila para himong slaves. So usa na ato kay si Catalina. She sat on the ship quietly while looking at the sky. So even though ang iyang mga kauban magsigig pangutana and trying to comfort her, dili gihapon siya motubag. Then after that, nikalit og barog si Catalina. Unya, ninglayat siya sa dagat, so instead nga malunod siya, naglakaw siya ibabaw sa mga waves padung sa ilang island. So nakakita ang kapitan sa barko pero wala siya'y mabuhat para ma-stop si Catalina. So she reached the shore safely. Then naagyapoy survivor sa island nga nabilin, which is ang katong nanago sa forest. So pagkakita nila kang Catalina is nangduol sila og ning-greet sila kang Catalina. So si Catalina is wala gyapoy kanang response sa ila, di gyapon siya motingog. Then while ang iyang mata sigig tan-aw sa ibabaw and ningpadong siya sa ilang town nga nasunog sa ilang town nga nasunog. So ningpadong siya along the road of Dalugdog or the Thunder Mountain. On Dalugdog there lived a terrible Sigbin. Its body was like that of monstrous cow, but just under its neck were two long legs like those of grasshoppers, which enabled to to leap great distances without using its wings. It ate anyone who came near its home. So, when the people saw Catalina start to climb the mountain, they begged them to come back. She paid no heed to their cries, however, but went up higher and higher, till her white dress seemed merely a speck on the mountainside. All at once, she seemed to stop and raise her hands. Then a fairly shriek was heard, and the first Sigbin came rushing down the mountain. It appeared to be greatly frightened. When the people saw that the Sigbin had gone, they ran up the mountain and searched everywhere for Catalina, but they could find no trace to her. So they returned to their homes and building new houses and making their town beautiful once more. So So now the town Dalugdog known for the town of having a terrible sigbin, so which they believe nga kung kinsa man ang moadto dool sa balay sa sigbin kay kaunon. So the time nga nakita sa mga tao nga ning sakan na si Catalina sa mountain, gipabalik nila. Pero wala sila paminawan ni Catalina hangtod dili na nila makita ang white dress ni Catalina. Kay layo na ang naabta ni Catalina. So although all that once, she seemed to stop and raise her hand. Sa pagkabati sa sigbin sa kusog nga hilak ni Catalina, nigawas ang sigbin sa mountain and nakita sa mga tao nga nawala ang sigbin. So, ning adto sila sa mountain o gipangita si Catalina, pero wala sila nakita nga bisan gamay lang nga evidence para matrace siya. So, ning balik ang mga tao sa nasunog nilang balay, ug naghimo og laing balay and taking an effort in making their town beautiful again. Several years passed in peace, and then again the Moro boat came from Mindanao. This time the Moros had no quick and easy victory for the Visayans armed with bolos. The people came out of their hiding places, crowding around the little black men and questioning them, but they received no answer. Instead, the little warriors gathered together and ran into the forest and up to the mountainside, where they were soon lost to view. So several years passed by, the Moro boat came from Mindanao. So there is something happened nga na-observe sa mga tao nga naay na form sa sky nga bridge gikan sa Dalugdog Mountain up to Dumaguete. And down the bridge road, nagdala si Catalina og kanang murag balay sa buyog or B, wherein she spoke a mysterious word, then iyang gibutang sa ground at ubangan sa mga pirates or sa katong mga Moro. So instead of ang bees ang manggawas, mga gagmay nga warriors aning gawas, having some weapons o gipatay nila ang mga pirates. Then after that, ning balik si Catalina sa mountain without any word. With that, ang mga little warrior na puno sa pangutana sa mga tao, but as usual, just like Catalina, they had no response at all. The little warrior gathered together and ran into the forest and up to the mountainside. Hangtod nga dili na sila makita, and the place were now peaceful, then ang sigbin is wala na sad. Let's move forward for Region 7 folk songs. Let's now listen together to the folk songs of Region 7, which is The Usahay, Matod Nila, and Ikaw na Lamang.
Usahay, magadamgo ako, na ikaw ug ako, nagkahigog maay. Nganong damguhon ko ikaw, damguhon sa kanunay.
So Usahay is a song for two lovers who didn't end up their love story happily. So because one of them have cheated. And from the song, you can say that it is a song of a person who regrets her or his decision of loving a person who is not loyal to their partner in terms of relationship.
Matud nila ako dili angay nga magmanggad sa imong gugma. Matud nila ikaw dili malipay kay wa ako'y bahandi nga kanimo igasa. Gugmang putli mauday pasalig mao'y bahanding labaw sa bulawan. Matud nila kaanugon lamang sa imong gugma ug paray dili maluba kining pagpati. Bisan sa unsa nga katarungan kay unsa pa'y bili ning kinabuhi kung sa gugma mo hinikawan. Ingnaku nga dili ka mutuo sa mga pagdamay kong naangkon.
Matud Nila folk song. It is a song of a guy who was discriminated by those people who surrounds him that he is not deserving for the love of the girl. Then they thought that the girl wouldn't be happy if she would only that kind of guy. Kay wala siya kanang kwarta, and fame could only make a person be contented and happy in life. And they also believe that ang kwarta, that money can make relationship work. So, but the guy was hoping that the girl would still accept him and love him truly despite of all the negative feedbacks. Another folk song of Region 7 is Ikaw Lamang. So, Ikaw Lamang is a Filipino love song that express deep emotions and longing for a loved one. The song conveys feelings of devotion, love, and the desire to be with the person who holds the special place in the singer's heart. It takes about the exclusivity of the feelings towards the person being sung to, emphasizing that they are the only one who matters. The lyrics reflects the singer's yearning for the presence and love of their significant others, highlighting the importance of their relationship and the depth of their emotions.
Kahit kung kat salat sa yaman. Nasugatan ang aking damdamin. Nang hihinayang ako sa iyo giliw. Kung sakaling sawi man ang puso, subalit tunay ang pagsuyo. Kayamanan ko hanggang pumanaw. Ang pag-ibig mong tanglaw sa buhay. Binabanggit kita sa panalangin. Lumigaya ka't pagpalain. Ay aking mahal, ikaw na lamang ang ligaya ko sa kalungkutan. Tuwing sasapit ang gabing tahimik, di kita malimot sa pag-ibig. Di kita malimot sa
Another literary works of Region 7 is riddles. So, balay ni Maria gipalibutan ng espada. So, in English translation, Maria's house is surrounded with words. Is pinya or pineapple. Sa ibabaw kararuhan, sa ilalim kabatuan. On top is a plain, underneath are stones. Kakao. Now let's move forward for the proverbs or sinultihon. Mahugno ang usa ka nasod kun walay magiya niini. Makaayo sa syudad ang daghanga magtatabang. In English, a nation is destroyed when no one is guiding it. It is good for a city to have many advisors. Ang batang matinumanon dili magmalampuson. A disobedient child will not succeed. Next is a short story entitled Servant Girl by Strela D. Alfon. A servant named Rosa worked for an abusive mistress. Rosa does her task obediently, even though her mistress hurts her physically and emotionally. She had worked at different houses before, but she did not last that long because of either the master's smirks or the children's bullying demands. She stayed at her mistress' house because there are times when her mistress is generous to her. One day, Rosa got injured on her way to do a chore. She met a cochero who helped her to mend her swollen foot. Ever since that day, Rosa could not stop thinking about him, and she even called him Angel because she forgot to ask his name. Rosa would compare Angel to Sancho, her rude admirer. Rosa's mistress told her to buy a bottle of wine, but Rosa got it shattered into pieces when she got into a fight with Sancho. Because of this, Rosa's mistress hurts her again, and this time She could not tolerate it and went out of her master's house. She told herself to would never come back again. Rosa is a servant girl who works for an abusive mistress. So gibuhat niya ang tanin niyang trabaho even though gimaltrato siya sa iyang amo physically and emotionally. So before naa siya work sa laing house but wala siya nagdugay maybe because sa attitude sa mga amo. So nagstay siya sa iyang work karon because there are times that the mistress gets generous to her. So one day gikasaban siya sa iyang amo kay dugay siya nahuman sa iyang buhat and he promised to herself that one day she will become rich. And one day, while doing the core, Rosa got injured, which is maglisod siya og lakaw. Then, she met a cochero who helped her para maayo ang iyang pilay. So, then tungod sa kabutan sa boy, dili na siya makalimot. Sige na siya guna-huna, though wala sila kaila sa name, ginganlan na lang niya og Angel. And mag-expect gihapon siya nga magkita pa sila gotro. So with that, iyang i-compare si Angel o si Sancho, one of her admirer. While doing the house chore, kisugo siya sa iyang amo to buy a wine. Then, in her way, suddenly abot si Sancho and ning offer og kuyugan siya kay gabi na. So, then pag uli nila is na-notice ni Rosa nga there is something wrong with Sancho like kanang bastos. So, mao to Rosa slaps Sancho and nag-away sila the reason why maong nabuak ang wine nga gipalit sa iyang amo. And Rosa's mistress hurt her again and that time she decided nga muhawa siya and dili na mobalik og otro. The characters. Rosa, she is a servant girl. Pedro, he is a cochero named Angel, described by Rosa as different from other men. Sancho, he is an admirer of Rosa, a rude and a violent person. Mistress, the one who abused Rosa, but sometimes turned to be kind one. The setting. The story happened in Miami, Florida, and she was scrubbing clothes in her mistress' house. Then the theme, honesty, patience, perseverance, inferiority, and innocence. So the conflict of this story started from man versus man or Rosa versus her mistress and Rosa versus Rancho. Man versus herself, Rosa versus her desire to meet Angel. And man versus circumstances, Rosa versus the accident. Then lastly, man versus society, Rosa versus the poverty or poorness. Plot or rising action. The story runs on Rosa, an abused maid, a work for his mistress. The mistress maltreated her badly, and she dreams that one day she will be freed from the abuse she experienced. Even though her mistress treats her badly, she was generous and felt pity when Rosa burst her tears because of her beating. Her mistress values money, always drunk, and loses self-control when she lost or wasted something. Rosa was a kind, understanding, and patient girl, and in spite of beating of his mistress, she stayed and continues her job. Falling action. When Rosa was hurt from her swole foot, a cochero passed by and helped her ease the swell of her foot. From that day on, she distinguished a cochero as her angel. The realization that what she felt as love to her angel was not real. Her angel named Pedro didn't think of her at all when she was injured. It was just a feeling his gratitude for helping her back then. So she went back to her mistress and continues her job. Climax. Then one day she encountered Cochero, who was recklessly riding his tarantella. Due to her anger, she threw a stone and the Cochero got angry. She threatened Rosa that he would bring her to the municipio, but then she realized that who it was. It was Angel who was in front of her. Then the resolution of this story. was the story ended when she went out of her mistress' house and promised to never come back again. So the moral of the story is every person in the world deserves to treat fairly, whether it is maid or beggar. No one deserved to get slapped every time they made even a mistake. Then the last is poem, entitled The Tracks of Babylon by Edith L. Chempo. Bodily decrepitude is wisdom. Young, we love each other and were ignorant. The hand-grown tentative fumbles the pen. He had been lost on the ironic slopes and peak. He had whittled all the wedges, strung out fence-like. He had tangled with the hawks and whirls, whipped into mysteries involted, unpotent as any coiled up in the grass. Ball and plowman, sandaled queen and lion, browning of eyes, all set in profile, stance and all dichotomized, left from the cracking sheet their possibility. In the leaning fixed bodies, clammy hand fables for the furnace, hot heart for the kinetic core, yellowly burning. Outside a wild wind-blown rice, harvest trains, for this old man nursing a cold limb. The slavering maggots of his memory assault him, when tiredness, like is a blister, was mere fretting, and pain left a curious token unaware, a scab for wisdom to peek over. If this hand seared and seared by terrible beauty, that bare the buried Babylon to his eyes, could menace the coiled destroyers in the rise, if it could wings in hawks and whirls, dispissing or missing the dull stance of protection, then he might wear shiny both switch and pen. Large sun shapes sprawl across the grains, but it his dark untitled vision shuts him on, man fumbling the drop pen, bearing, desolating a much drugged Babylon. So this poem is all about this poem delves into the theme of human existence and the passage of time. The poem explores the journey of life, reflecting on the changes and challenges that individuals may face as they navigate through the complexities of existence. It involves the nature of time and the quality of human experiences, which is highlighting the cylindrical nature of life and the continuous movement towards an uncertain future. So the tracks her so the tracks her so the tracks her symbolize the path that individuals follow in their lives, with Babylon, which also represents as the place of confusion, chaos, and impermanence. But overall, the poem explores themes of identity, morality, and the search of meaning in the transient and ever changing world. And that would be all. Thank you.